Good morning. It is Monday, and today we are looking at downward dog. We are looking at 10 to 5 here in Canada, where I am at. And if you've ever wondered about your shoulders and your wrists going into downward dog, if you've ever wondered about your heels coming down into downward dog, if you've ever wondered if you should be able to do downward dog every single day, or if it's just the worst thing ever. We're going to look biomechanically at this downward dog through a series of movements. And it'll be very interesting to see how you feel throughout as you grow your awareness and after as you've moved yourself really, really well. All right, so we're looking at and exploring downward dog. You need to have a strap or a tie of some sort, a roller or like a foam roller or something like that. We're going to use it to twist and roll. A ball, like a tennis ball size ball or a massage ball, and something that I call a spinal strip, but if you don't have a spinal strip, a rolled mat will do just fine. Okay, so let's head onto our space and give this a whirl. Okay, so let's begin just sitting. So you can sit in your bolster or your roller. And we are going to settle into our breathing. And I want you to just notice what you feel. And you can hear my voice is a little wakey-uppy because I woke up about 15 minutes ago. And here I am playing around with dog and my arm movement and sharing a practice with you. All right, so what's interesting is noticing how the breath is moving in your body, how it fills you out. And I'll do another video in the future about how I see breath in your body like a mechanical pump, and how your breath before it's air was just sitting here in front of our face, and then a vacuum happens and it comes. And in part, the ability for you to bring that air in has to do with how supple you are in your body. So if you're super tight in or on the ribs, it'll be more difficult to expand in that rib cage to enable all of that respiration to occur. So really think about this idea of your body and your breath, your mechanical pump being your body. It'll be interesting to see how your breath feels at the end of this. So how this is going to go is we're going to just move between downward dog and then doing a very specific movement and then coming back to downward dog, and you'll start to feel how your body starts to change. So we're going to begin with something I call a spinal strip. You might not have this foam strip. A rolled mat the same size will do just fine. Okay, or a blanket. But the rolled mat is right about the same size. And the other thing you're going to need is a strap. Okay, and a short strap like a 3-footer, 2-footer, or a tie like from a bathrobe or a tie is just fine. So where you're going to place this is right, for me, it's right at my bra strap. So where my bra strap is right opposite the bottom of the breastbone. So anatomically, it's about T7, T8, right in the thoracic spine, but it's like opposite the breastbone, and if you wear a bra, where the bra is. Okay? And so you're going to place this right in that spot. So you can see that there, right in that spot, and then lie down. So like I said, you can absolutely use a rolled mat. Okay? Now, as I'm lying here, I realized I totally goofed up. Because we were meant to do downward dog first, but that's okay. We're here now. So if you haven't quite gotten onto your mat, then do a downward dog first and just feel what it feels like. And then join me in this position, whether it's on a rolled mat. And if you don't have a rolled mat where you are, then don't worry about that at all. And just join us for this arm movement, okay? So we've got the strap, and if you don't have a strap, then you can put your thumb tips together like this, okay? And your arms are going to be up to the sky, and you're going to raise your arms up to the sky, and then then bring them down. And if you're on the height of a strip or a mat, you'll feel that your blades can really retract, like come together toward the spine. Or, that's an assumption of mine, if your shoulders are quite tight, you're going to feel them not do that very much. Just make sure that the articulating joint is your shoulder and your blade, right? And so your neck's not going, your ribs aren't going, making it really easy. And then your arms are going to come over your head. Yeah. Now, I'm going right alongside my ears. I want you to move only in the range that you've got available without clicking and clunking or pain or strain or like a wobbliness in your arms. So that range of motion might be a bit smaller. But really do your best to be aware of what it is that you feel. Okay? Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to come off of that and just lie back. And then roll on over and come into dog, which is what we should have done to start with. All right, so you do the dog you know to do. Okay, so you're going to come on up and then just feel what that feels like. And you may, even though you might not have done your dog first, you might even notice just a difference in your body. Okay. Lovely. All right, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to grab this block again. I'm going to have a seat. And you're going to take this arm out to the side. We're just going to rotate and then go internal and then external. Now, when I do this internal here, what I'm not doing, see how my hand moves, but my shoulder doesn't. So I'll come a bit closer for you. So I can move my hand and I can move my forearm and not have any movement happen at my shoulder. I want you to really think about moving your shoulder, okay? So if I come back down here, I'm thinking about my shoulder. So if you need to, place your hand at your joint between your arm bone and your shoulder socket and really think about that. And if you're looking at the screen, well, you won't necessarily see yourself doing the movement, but you can play with this later with a mirror and just notice, are you moving more at your forearm or are you moving at your hand? Okay? Because if you are a regular practicing yoga person and you've got wrist issues, then that might be a little whisper. So often where the pain is isn't the problem. Okay, let's go to the other side and let's do the same thing. Now the other piece of this is it might be difficult to do at this height. It might be easier to do here. Yeah? Okay, now coming back to this side. I want you to move the arm back behind you. So this is extension of this arm bone in the socket. Notice that I'm not doing this with my shoulder. So you can place your hand on your shoulder, the top of your shoulder rather, towards your neck. And just bring that arm behind you. And you'll see I'm just going back and then I'm coming this way. Like so, back and front. And now again, the other thing I'm not doing is this. The movement is here at the joint. Right here. Okay, and now you're going to bring the arm in behind you and just rest it in behind you. And just easy, easy, easy breathe. Easy breathe. And then let that go. Okay, now here, we're going to do this again. And then bring the arm back. So the articulating joint is through the shoulder, not up in between the shoulder and the neck. Just through here. not your elbow. Right here. This is where you're moving. Good. Okay, and now you're going to rotate it. So now it's going to rotate from here, and you're going to bring the arm behind. Okay, good. And then let that go. And let's come back into downward dog and notice what you feel. Okay, so from here, you'll be here, toes will come under, and into downward dog. Now you'll notice that I'm not saying press your hands into the floor or anything. What's starting to change perhaps for you is just how your arm bone is moving into your shoulder socket. Because so often with dog, one of the key things is that we need to be able to bring our arm up overhead like this, right? And when we don't move this way, through here, through this joint, we're going to start to move through here. Or we're going to start to do stuff further down. And if we don't have the bigger muscles up and through our shoulder girdle doing the job of supporting us and giving us control, then we're going to fall into our wrist or our elbow, right? So you might be starting to notice this stuff. Okay, we're going to take the strap now, back onto our block. And the strap is going to come up over the head. And we're just going to move the arms back this way. Right? Now do your best to not like reach your ribs forward. You're not going to go much further than when your arms are already up. And if you need to bend the elbows, then do that. That's fine. Okay? And then from there, we're going to take the arms and we're just going to angle them a little bit, but the movement's not through our torso. The movement is through the shoulder joint. And then this back arm is going to pull the front arm. Okay, good. Another side. Good. And then what I'd like you to do is take this strap again. Sorry, I'm fiddling with my hands here. You don't need to fiddle with them. And you can do one of two things. You can kind of come to the side like this, or you can come to the side like this. Okay, up to you totally. You need to decide what it feels like in your body, right? And then come here, and then to the side. And it might look like this for you. And remember, it's not about like, oh, well, she's doing it, so I should do it too. You really need to feel in your body. Like, this is what this whole thing is about. It's about your gaining the awareness. The stretch isn't the thing you need to do. What you need to do is grow your awareness of how your body actually moves, so you can become aware of some of those spots that are under your level of awareness. Okay, good. Let that go. Now, let's come into dog. Let's see what happens. All right, notice what you're feeling. I am perking up after coming awake from slumber. I can kind of feel all of this starting to sort of not come alive, just settle in some way. Okay, so I'm going to just put the block over to the side here, and we're going to take one of these balls. Now this is going to become interesting. Now, the way I like to use ball work is not necessarily to make a release happen, but to bring awareness to certain areas of your body, right? And so then we're going to come back into downward dog to really help improve the work of what goes on in the shoulder joint. But where I want you to feel is underneath here, you'll feel your shoulder blade, yeah? You feel the outer edge of your shoulder blade. And then you're going to feel a massive tissue here that includes your latissimus dorsi, your serratus anterior, rotator cuff, and those all kind of come all into here. Now, the rotator cuff attaches onto the blade, as does the serratus. Now, the serratus attaches underneath and then on the other side of the blade. But there's can be some trigger points or some tender points down here with those muscular structures, including the lats. You know where I'm going here, right? So I want you to feel those, what I call the sweet spots. And you're going to take the ball right there. Now, if you are a total masochist, you can do that on the floor if you like. I'm going to show you two versions, on the floor as well as on the wall. And you can just kind of get in there. Now, just remember, it's your whole body weight coming onto that ball, and it could be a little bit intense. If you're less of a masochist, then you can come here and do the same thing and just place the ball right in those areas, right? Let me walk back just a little bit. Here. Right, and just find those areas that are just a wee bit tender. Okay, now, what I need you to do, and I said, you could come onto the floor. Just because I'm here doesn't mean that you don't have to be on the floor if that's kind of your jam. The thing is I'm not doing this to release anything. I mean, the result will be is there's going to be some tissue release, yes. But that's not my MO. My MO is to improve my awareness of how my limb attaches to my torso. Yeah? Because so many issues that happen with our wrists in dog have nothing to do with the wrists at all. So when we become aware of the areas that actually contribute to some of the stuff that's going on in our wrist, then we can really make a big difference. Okay, now for this next one, just because of the way I'm set up here, I am going to join you masochists on the floor, and we're going to find that stuff on the floor and just be like, oh yeah, there's some stuff in there. Yeah. Be like super gentle with yourself. Like you don't have to like tear apart and make yourself scream. And you don't even need to roll. You can just find a point and lie there, and then find a point and lie there, and find a point and lie there. Or be against the wall. Yeah. Nice? Okay. Good. Okay, perfect. Now, from here, you know where we're going. Let's go back into downward dog. This is always kind of interesting. When you come up and then you start to move and it's like, wait a second, how am I so light in my arms? There's so much talk in yoga about where to put your hands. And I'm going to show my colors here. I sort of think that cue is not awesome because it doesn't really focus in on what's going on with the shoulders. The other cue that kind of is funky is rotating your arm bones and your shoulder sockets. Because so many people are unaware of how to do that, which is what this practice is all about. So you might actually now feel like, oh, my arm bone's actually moving up there, which is perfect because that's what the ultimate aim is. Okay. And imagine if you could do that without actually cueing it, like it just kind of happened. So now we're going to come into our hands and knees and bring our roller. Now, I'm on a carpeted floor here. So if you don't have a roller, you could use a block. That will work on a carpeted floor. It will certainly work on a hard floor or a linoleum floor. Or you can just be here and just do this. The big piece, though, I want you to pay attention to is I'm not just dropping to the floor, right? What I'm focusing on is rotation through the torso. Okay? Okay, so I've got this guy. My arm is in behind. Now, the other thing that becomes very fascinating when you get into playing around with your shoulder girdle as it relates to downward dog, and we're spending a lot of time on the shoulder girdle, is that you discover just how much tension you might be holding there, which is preventing you from being in your legs and being grounded. Because lots of times when people get stressed out, they kind of go whoop, and they pull up in their bodies. I don't know about you, I think there's a little bit of stress circulating around these days, and that tension can be very palpable up in the upper body. So when we release through here, through a sneaky practice like this, which I can frame it as a downward dog practice, but I have ulterior motives for you, both to make you feel like your downward dog's coming alive in a new way, but also to help you come into your legs, because we all kind of need that. All right, let's go to the other side. call this practice kind of like your spinach practice, you know, how sometimes, I know I don't do this. Truly, I don't need to do it yet with my kids. As I don't need to put spinach in stuff. Like, I don't need to hide spinach in brownies in order for them to eat it. But sometimes you do, right? Sometimes you have to. So this is kind of like your spinach practice. I'm hiding. I'm not being direct about bringing you into your legs and needing to be grounded because maybe you feel stressed out. Because maybe I don't even need to articulate that to people. But we have to have fun with it, right? Instead of thinking about it all the time. Not to hide it, not to hide the feelings, still addressing it, but doing it in a fun way. Okay, I may have just over-talked that point way too much. Okay, so let's come here and come into downward dog. So toes come under. And now notice what you feel, that you've added a twist. Now the cool thing with twists, we're going to do one more twist again. The cool thing with twists is twists are all about here to here. But the blades, the serratus anterior feeds into your obliques, and the serratus anterior attaches to the blades. And so when we can start to move better through rotation, we can sometimes free up our blades. When our blades free up, our arms can sail up to the sky a lot more easily, which can help our downward dog. Yeah. So it becomes kind of fun. All right, we're going to do another twist. So I'm coming back into my little perch here. All right. You know the drill here. So hands are going to come here. The reason I'm doing this is because a lot of people are super sneaky with not utilizing through here. They just move their head, right? And so I want to help you not move your head. I want to help you bring yourself down into your body. We're going to start by moving through the torso. Now you've seen that the head moves, but it moves because the torso has moved. Now if you're here and you add the arms, think about retracting this back arm. Now, if all is good, and you're super comfy, and your jaw is good, and your eyes are good, and everything is good, I want you to turn your head. Lovely. And then come back. Okay. And take the twist. Retract that back shoulder blade. And then if it's available, you can move your neck. Good. All right, let's come back to downward facing dog. So we're here, and now notice what's happening. Nice. Okay. So I do get questions from people saying to me, you know, how can I continue to practice my vinyasa flow and not hurt my wrists, right? Like I keep hearing, they say, that downward dog is just really horrible. Okay, you're going to take your rolled mat or the spinal strip again, or maybe you've got a foam block, or maybe you can come right into a squat. I can't come into a squat with my feet flat on the floor, but I'm getting closer to it. So if you can come all the way to a squat, then come to a squat. We're going to do a little bit of leg work just to balance things up and have your legs kind of go, ooh, I'm alive too. I'm just going to have you here, and I'm just going to chat about the wrist and the downward dog. And the thing is that you'll be amazed if you are becoming aware of your shoulder girdle and your rib cage and have some of the stuff that I've shown you is freeing up your dog, then that's an indication that there's a little limitation in your shoulders and your rib cage, right? There's some, like in this piece that I've shown you and how it relates down to your legs. And so then there's an opportunity there for you to feel better and have your body move better and be a little bit more in yourself. Yeah. So I'm kind of the person who doesn't think there's a bad movement out there. What happens is that it's inappropriate for people. Right? So if you get yourself functioning, it's like running, for example. Running often gets a really bad rap. So running's not the bad thing. It's like, does the person have the structural integrity to do it? That's what kind of gets funky. That's the incongruity. So the thing is, it's not so much about downward dog is terrible for the wrists and the wrists should never move that way. I actually don't agree with that. I don't agree. I think we can improve our function and our overall integrity, and then we have a ton of fun. Yeah? So these are, like, when you got wrist pain and elbow pain and all that stuff, that's just an indication to let you know that there's something limited in your body. Yeah, that's all. And so then we can go and fix it, right? And change up the limitation and make you feel better. And then it's thumbs up. 2 of them. Yeah. And that is seemingly what this daily practice that I'm teaching you guys, that I started about, I don't even know how, 10 days ago or something, is turning into. It's just so you know. Look at me. See how I'm lifting up my bum? Is for you to reawaken in your body. I know lots of yoga teachers say that. I know that. But what I mean by that is your tissue is so plastic. And it gets caught up in our habits, right? And when you add in something like stress, which is kind of in our environment, and then you start to buffer with alcohol and food and all that, which I totally understand, but then you can get more kind of constricted and constrained and congested. So that's why moving really specifically in a pure enough way, reducing your compensations, can kind of bring you back to yourself. Yeah? And then you'll feel it in your dog. Remember that our brain and our mind processes emotions and external load. Your legs might be a bit sore doing this, by the way. The same way it does physical load. So you might think you're doing okay, but just check in with your body. Your body doesn't lie at all. So if you think you're doing okay with processing all of the current events, check in with your body. Yeah? Check in with your body. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making my legs are starting to get a little bit tired, but I'm pressing my heels down as I move through my hips and my knees. Okay, now let that go. I rambled a bit there. So if your legs are a bit sore, good. Okay, let's come here and come back into downward dog. Good. All right, so those of you who have been practicing for a while, can you feel that distinction now that's going on through here in terms of how your legs and how your torso and how your arms are all feeling? It's really, really interesting, isn't it? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to pop onto our back. We're going to do a spinal rotation, like a spinal twist on our backs. Ah, that just feels so lovely. Let's bring one leg up to the body. You've moved at your hip, your pelvis is quiet, the leg comes across your body, the hand rests on the leg, and over you go. This shoulder girdle, easy on the ground. This shoulder over here, my left shoulder, is not coming off the ground. Nice. And then coming on back. Nice. Okay. And then come on back. Let's do one more downward dog. And then we're going to bring this into a Shavasana. And just enjoy how the change is in our bodies. Okay, so come on up. Now. job. All right, lovely. Okay, come on to your backs. And let's settle into an easy peasy Shavasana. And now, check in with your breathing. And feel how the breath is breathing you. And where it's now moving in your body and where your body's moving with it. Coming back to your breath again. And just be aware of your feet and your legs and your pelvis. And then up and through your rib cage and your shoulders. In your face and your eyes. Lovely. So you can stay here for as long as you would like. You might want to do some more practice if you'd like, now that things are kind of turned on a little bit more. And here we are on another day, breathing in with ease and out with gratitude. Thank you so much for joining me. This has just been a total hoot over the past bit of time, and we're going to just keep doing this indefinitely. So I get going at about 4:45-ish in the morning, anywhere between 4:45 and 5:15. So if you want to join me, this is mountain time. So if you want to join me and see what I'm up to as part of my practice each morning, I'd love to have you along. And if there's any suggestions you would love for me to share about what I do or how I do my practice, just post them below. I'm happy to integrate stuff to help you out. Because boy, oh boy, don't we all need a little helping hand these days. Take good care. Have a really, really great rest of your day. Bye-bye.